Nairobi County leadership appears to be headed for a bruising supremacy wars between members of parliament led by Senator Johnson Sakaja and the besieged county governor Mike Sonko, who seems to have enlisted support from members of the county assembly. In a joint statement, the members of parliament called out the governor, saying as it stands, Nairobi County is mortally ill with one foot in the grave. They say the county is suffering a triple calamity of no deputy governor, non-functional executive, and an assembly that is in shambles, as they call for an audit of City Hall, especially on finances. However, a few hours later, a section of members of the county assembly. So it is important for us to have a conversation about the county of Nairobi. Remember, Senator Johnson Sakaja has raised issues concerning some of the services offered by the county government, and we've seen a section of members of the county assembly within itself. There was a push and pull of the speaker, Beatrice Elachi, whether or not she is the sitting speaker of the county assembly or not. And we also need to remember that Nairobi County does not have a deputy governor as we speak, and that is the question that we shall be talking about this morning with respective of the ruling that was given by Justice Mumbi Ngugi recently when it comes to a governor who's been found in corruption case to step aside. We've seen so far the governor of Murang'a County, not Murang'a County, but Kiambu County, beg your pardon, that is Ferdinand Waititu, stepping aside, and the deputy governor is the one who's acting as the governor of Kiambu County. That is a top story this morning, a story that we shall be putting our focus on. What is the way forward for the Nairobi County government? My name is Brenda Zederadido. Always a pleasure having you tuned in to KTN News Center. Now, let's begin with the top story, and that is Nairobi County wars, and where the Nairobi County leadership appears to be headed for a bruising supremacy between members of parliament and led by Senator Johnson Sakaja and besieged county governor, that is Mike Sonko, who seems to have enlisted support from members of the county assembly. In a joint statement, the MPs called out the governor, saying as it stands, Nairobi County is mortally ill with one foot in the grave. They say the county assembly the county government is suffering a triple calamity of no deputy governor, non-functional executive, and an assembly that is in shambles, as they call for an audit of the City Hall, especially on finances. However, a few hours later, a section of members of the county assembly allied to the governor of Nairobi castigated the MPs, claiming they are beneficiary of Governor Sonko's financial support, and therefore it's hypocritical for them to turn around and allege Nairobi County is in ICU.
It is a tragedy of untold proportions that as we speak, the Nairobi City County is mortally ill with one foot in the grave, suffering the triple calamity of a governor without a deputy, a non-functional executive, and an assembly that is in shambles. As elected leaders, it is expected of the members to be able to speak out so as not to sit and watch as our beloved city county sinks further into an abyss of mismanagement, corruption, and impunity. As anarchy and disorder reign supreme at City Hall, services to Nairobi citizens have practically ground to a halt. If Nairobi is not working, Kenya cannot work. 60% of our GDP is from Nairobi County. Nairobi County must be able to work, and that is why the members are airing concerns of the people of Kenya and the people of Nairobi. However, despite the 52.54 billion from both shareable revenue as well as own source revenue, taps remain dry in the city, garbage remains uncollected, sewage is flowing freely, estate and feeder roads remain in deplorable conditions. Residents are resorting to seek health services away from the county health system, and dispensaries and other critical services remain unrendered.
It is in the public domain that Honorable Sakaja is doing business with the county of Nairobi, yet he is supposed to oversight. He has never stepped foot in the county assembly to address the issue he is raising in the media. This is the platform recognized by the Kenyan Constitution, whereby he can come and raise these pertinent issues with the Assembly.
Right, so there you have it. Members of Parliament from Nairobi County and members of the County Assembly, a blame game. MPs accusing Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko, members of the County Assembly supporting Sonko and accusing, Nairobi's Senator, that is Johnson Sakaja, of not doing his oversight role. Let's now speak to governance expert Javas Bigambo via way of phone. And thank you so much, Mr. Bigambo, for talking to us here on KTN News Center this morning. We're talking about the war between the Senator of Nairobi and the Governor of Nairobi. As we speak right now, from where you're sitting, what is your take when it comes to the war between the governor and the senator?
Well, thank you so much. First, what is at play or what is observable is that politics is at play, and this in itself is hampering effective or proper service delivery by the county government of Nairobi. The other thing is that the politics of egos, self-preservation and interests, personal interests, are coming in the way of particular constitutional and statutory officers conducting or executing their mandate. Now, we've seen the spat between Governor Sonko and Senator Sakaja over some time, and then the MCAs coming in, and all these have stirred up a war of emotions and politics that now is leaving the proper governance or the effective governance of Nairobi County in limbo. There's the issue, for example, that you have intimated, where there is accusations and counter-accusations. Senator Sakaja has accused Governor Sonko of improper execution of his duties, and in fact, to some extent, that he has even been writing to the office of the governor, and hitherto, no response has come with respect to the place and the role of his office as the senator of Nairobi County. And we've seen MCAs now castigating Sakaja and also Governor Sonko castigating Sakaja. So these accusations and counter-accusations have now led into a new twist where I said politics is at play.
All right, so Mr. Bigambo, this is not the first time we're seeing, Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko and Senator Sakaja, having exchange of words. Remember also when Governor Sonko appeared before the Senate Finance Committee, and there was another bad exchange between the two. So who is not doing his work? Because Senator Sakaja is expected to do the oversight work, which members of the County Assembly, as you've heard, from that clip, it is that they're saying the Senator is not doing the oversight work. He's never even appeared before the County Assembly to raise some of the concerns that he's raising through the media.
What is even more interesting is the lack of appreciation of the principle of the doctrine of separation of powers that the County Assembly should be doing. Remember that the County Assembly is to play three cardinal roles, the oversight, representation, and legislation. When now we see a seamlessness in spirit and thoughts between the County Assembly and the County Executive, then we know very well that the cardinal rule or the principle or the doctrine of separation of powers at the County Assembly, or rather at the county government level, is not functional. It is properly dysfunctional. The other thing is this. It is not in the province of MCAs to direct Senator Sakaja on how to exercise his roles. In fact, there should be a way of convergence of thought and operation and synergy between the County Assembly and even its leadership and the Senator for Nairobi, or the office of the Senator. Now, the issues that Senator Sakaja has been raising, and even as he has been seen closely with the other legislators from Nairobi County on the roles, the functionality of the county government, are very critical issues that speak to matters service delivery. What is even more sad is that because of the failure to pursue the provisions that are there provided by statute, now we see leaders having fights through the media.
But Mr. Bigambo, these fights are not, they're not helping Nairobi residents, because what Nairobi residents want is a service delivery. And, talking about service delivery, let's talk about the leadership of the county government of Nairobi. So as we speak, we don't have a deputy governor for the county number 47. And Governor Sonko is also facing, a case of graft, and that is why ESCC is investigating him. We've seen him go to the ESCC headquarters several times. So let's have a look at a situation whereby, should ESCC take the governor to court, have his case taken to court, and the judge says that the governor needs to step aside the way, Kiambu governor has stepped aside, then what happens to Nairobi County? Because at the same time, Beatrice Elachi, her leadership at the county is also being questioned by some of the MCAs.
On the strength of Article 163, sub-Article 6 of the Constitution, the Supreme Court is mandated to opine or to give an advisory opinion on a critical issue of law. Now, we know that last year in March, the Supreme Court made a clear advisory opinion on how or the necessity of a deputy governor being nominated by a governor the time there is a vacancy or a vacancy falls in the office of the deputy governor. And this was with respect to the Embu County issue. Now, as a matter of fact, we know very well that that's supposed to be done within 14 days when the vacancy falls in that office, and that the county assembly is supposed to do the vetting 60 days after such the kind of nomination. Governor Sonko has been adamant, and in fact, he is on record having said that in the absence of a clear statute that provides for the nomination of a deputy governor, that he will be sluggish and he will not have a deputy governor in office. That creates a huge gap that was not anticipated by the Constitution or even the County Government Act. Because in the absence of a governor, or when a governor is incapacitated perhaps and his office then is dysfunctional, it is proper, and the law provides also for that pecking order, that the deputy governor assumes such office. In the absence of governor, deputy governor, we know very well that the county assembly speaker, is supposed to assume the office for a period of 60 days pending elections. Today, and God forbid, if any calamity were to befall Governor Sonko, and the way the Nairobi County Assembly Speaker, Elachi, is embattled, Nairobi County will create a huge hole in law and even politics. Remember that the MCAs of Nairobi have also disregarded the provision or the position of the courts that restored Elachi to execute her constitutional and statutory duties. What we have seen is now Speaker Elachi trying also to play politics, where now she has to acquiesce with the politics of Governor Sonko, so that now the factions of county assembly members within Nairobi County Assembly can get to give her the backing that she needs. We have seen Governor Sonko now have a session or sittings with MCAs, then now to get to embrace embattled Speaker Elachi.
All right.
This kind of politics and the manner in which they are being played, especially by Governor Sonko, with due respect, is leading to what I may call spitting at the provision of the law. Because when you look at the principles of devolved government as provided for in Article 175, Part A, then you realize that these leaders in office, from the county assembly members to even Governor Sonko himself, they do not appreciate the weight and significance of the provisions of Article 174 and Article 175 of the Constitution on matters devolution.
All right.
And service delivery for the people of Nairobi.
All right. Thank you so much, Javas Bigambo, political analyst, is trying to dissect the wars that are happening between Governor Sonko and political leaders within the Nairobi County government, including Senator for Nairobi, Johnson Sakaja. We'll see how that plays out at the end of the day. Developing story right there. Now from that to matters BBI. And every 4 years, the country almost comes to a standstill due to the election cycle. A country becomes divided, the economy lags, and livelihoods